Mhm.
Hello, my friends. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a good day, evening, or night, wherever you are. And yeah, today we're back for a brand new What's Missing in Marketing today. And overall, we're going to be talking to Michael all about why you should look at, specifically looking at video, maybe, and also what you need to do when it comes to actually getting confident on video content as a whole. So, Michael, thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Before we jump into it, in your view, what do you think is missing in marketing today?
Heart. I think heart is missing. I think a lot of businesses fall down this hole of they see, so for example, a plumber or a gas fitter or a gas engineer or an accountant or a financial advisor. They tend to talk about how amazing they are, which is great. And I'm pretty sure most of them are amazing in what they do. But people don't care about that. People don't care how amazing somebody is. People don't care that I've been in business 13 years. When they hire me, they just want to go, right, if I pay you all this money, are you going to get me results? And that's all they care about. And so I think a lot of businesses actually focus on the wrong things. And a lot of businesses focus on all these niche little trending videos where we had last year and the year before, we had all these, those videos where it would be a viral video of someone falling off a bike and then they will roll into shot. All this stuff I am just so against. Yes, it works to some degree depending on what it is you're talking about. But I feel like a lot of clients who want videos think too much about how they're going to create video rather than thinking about what they're going to talk about. It seems that content seems to be the last thing on their mind. They don't think about what comes out their mouth. They only care about how they want it to look, how they
Yep.
want it to come across. Um, they want fancy cameras, fancy lighting. Everyone wants that Netflix feel, which is great. But if the content is not there, you have nothing. And you spent a lot of money, wasted a lot of money, wasted a lot of time for very poor results.
Do you think I guess people run into this is a shiny new thing, we love it, we think it's a great idea, but they maybe don't sit down and do what could be described as pre-production or boring work, right? When it comes to, okay, we're going to do this video, we're going to do this set of videos, we're going to do this advertising campaign, whatever it may be, and what is it actually going to do to move the needle, right? I think
Mm.
for me, something that I'm focusing with my clients this year, but also focusing more on myself, is what specific impact can I make with the videos I make, right?
Hmm.
Yes, we can make them look great, sound great, etc., and that you should do that, but it should not be an expense, in my view, to understanding why it's going to move the needle for you, right? And I guess, I mean, just to build off that, I mean, why do you think people rush into creating content? Like rush into maybe getting you, because I've seen it many, many times, unfortunately, where people they see it as the new shiny thing. They're like, right, we got to do it right now, right? Which in some ways would be counterintuitive because surely us as video people, we want people to do that in the short term to make money, right?
It's all or nothing, and it seems to, I don't know if you feel this, but especially last year, it comes in waves. A lot of people panicked last year. A lot of people rushed to do things last year. And it seemed that the whole world did it at the same time. And then we went through periods of very little creativity.
Mm.
The problem with our industry, and I'm sure you will relate to this, is that whenever there is uncertainty, we are the first ones cut. Photographers, they're the first ones cut. Social media output is the first thing cut. And I think, you know, I'm a testament to the time that, I mean, I've I've celebrated 13 years in business. That's going through Brexit. That's going through lockdown and COVID. And that's because I consistently showed up with social media and I
Mm.
showed up with storytelling and showed up with creating content whilst I couldn't leave the house. And I think that's what's kept me consistent over the years. That's what's kept me showing up. And that's why the phone keeps ringing. I was talking to my accountant before Christmas and he said, I work with 3 or 4 different videographers in the local area. He said, and you are by far the one bringing in the most money. And I'm like, well, I still feel down. I still feel like I'm not doing enough. I still feel like I'm not as good. And he went, honestly, he said, I'm not lying. He said, I look at your figures and you consistently beat the others. And I'm like, well, that's a nice feeling. But the main thing is, what are the other videographers doing wrong or not doing to be able to be at the same level as me? Because there's enough work for everybody.
Mm.
And that's why obviously I work with a lot of videographers and I'm good friends with videographers like yourself, because we know that our industry is completely different to other industries. So most financial advisors won't talk to each other. Most accountants won't talk to each other, but we will, because in order to create something good and tangible, you have to collaborate with other creatives. I've learned a lot from you. You've probably learned a lot from me. And that's across the board with anyone that's creative. We have to work as a team,
Yeah.
and we have to look at others for inspiration. There's things that you do that I don't do, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could be as good as Carlton. He's really good at doing this, and I'm not. I think you can always look at other people in your industry for inspiration. There is a dog bark, and I just want to address there is a dog barking because life is not perfect. I think it's the postman, but I'm
I mean,
just.
don't mean to cut you off, but like that's a key example, right? Like I think some people they
Mm,
would look at this stream and they would go, "Oh well, it's not perfect." I mean, like literally
life isn't perfect.
20 minutes before this stream, I was like, "Fuck it, let's just do it on Riverside because I've wanted to move and I need a reason to do it. So fuck it, let's just do it." And I think that's a key example sometimes in life. I mean, you talked about uncertainty. I don't know. It's not. It's gonna sound really weird, but it's nice to hear that
Mm,
because I think sometimes people go, "It's just me in a void thinking that things are tough," right?
yeah.
And I'm saying that from a place of like incredibly grateful, where we have done very very well last year. You know, we doubled our revenue, etc. But I'm also aware that there's also people who aren't in that position, right?
Mm,
Now, I would argue one of the reasons why I'm in that position or have been fortunate enough to be in that position is because I'm consistent, because I'm showing up, because I keep trying to push the boundaries, because I keep trying to like make better content.
innovate. Yeah.
But I guess I mean, was that always something that you look to do? Is that always something you look to do? I mean, we've had many conversations through the years about like, well, this is what I'm looking to do to adapt, this is etc. I mean, and this is how I'm looking to quote stay ahead. I mean, I guess for people who are maybe consuming this or listening to this, I mean, what would you say is that thing? Is there a golden bullet? Because well, I'm sure you get it a lot, but I get it a lot, which is like, Colin, what's the golden piece of content that's going to make me loads of money this year?
It's a double-edged sword because, for me, I always want to move away from just generic video. I mean, unfortunately, you have to pay the bills and you have to do certain jobs that you think, oh, this could be so much better if they just do an extra day's filming and listen to me a bit more. And I always have the respect of my client. I always know that my client knows what they want, but sometimes they need me to guide them to where they need to be. When people hire me or when they hire you, they're not just buying the equipment. Yes, the equipment's expensive. Yes, we're constantly buying more equipment, hard drives, computers. It is a constantly evolving industry, and we're always, you buy one camera one year and it's outdated the next. But it's not always about the equipment. It's about, you as a creative, how can you look at somebody's business and go, right, I think we should do this. I think, because a lot of the times clients look at what their competitors do, they look at what is trending and they go, we want this. I'm like, well, have you asked yourself the question, what do you want a video to do? Before I talk about prices, before I talk about what I think they should do, I go, what do you want a video to achieve? You're spending maybe 900, £1,500. What is the outcome? What do you need it to do? And then you work around trying to get to that point where it's going to lead an audience to want to know more. I think a lot of clients, when I do my retainers, we do about 5 to 8 videos, and they're always pushing to do 9 or 10. And I'm like, quality over quantity, because if I do 10 videos, yes, we can achieve that in an hour and it's very intense, but I'd rather you have 2 really good videos than 10 half-hearted videos.
Mm.
And I think people don't see, not a lot of people see the value in what we do. We constantly feel like we are explaining the value. Some people get it, some people don't. People want results. And I think people are scared of actually taking a chance with their wallet. I think, they're thinking, oh, this has to make a return. And so our job
Yeah.
is to make sure that we close our mouth, we listen to their need, we listen to what they're trying to achieve, and then we as creatives go, right, you've talked about this, you've talked about this, you want to achieve this, and you want to get here by this point. This is how you should do it. And it might necessarily be, we are consuming content at such an incredible rate these days that even short form content has to be so spot on for people to engage, because every single person on the planet is competing for time.
Mm. Do you think? I mean, my next question was going to be: do you think there's a content problem? Do you think there's an attention problem? But just to add a bit more context around that, I think what you're talking about here is like the everyone wants, because everyone understands, right? Like, you put out a load of content, you get more time with people, you build more trust faster, which in turn means you're more likely to win a sale, right? In
Mm,
quotes, that's what we're talking about. But the crux, I guess, is something that I've been thinking about a lot over the last couple of years, especially especially over the Christmas break, and then leading into what we're doing as a business and as a content strategy as a whole, moving forward, and what I'm doing to talk to my editors about it, etc. Like, what we're looking to do is that 1% improvement that we did all of last year, but also how can I create buckets of energy, buckets of time, where I'm not only creating like long form targeted content on its own on a consistent basis, but then also on the other content standalone for just like scrolling feeds, right? So I think for a long time we were very clip farmy, right? If that makes sense. Like, one of the
yeah.
reasons why you want a podcast, and you shouldn't, and I'm not saying for a second, by the way, because ironically, you'll see clips from this show that are clip farmy, right?
Mm,
It's not, in my view at least, and something that really worked for me last year was not or, it's an and question, right? So for me, I'm thinking, how can I create standalone short form content that I plan in the same way I plan my long form, but is that worth it in regards to time? But also, I think there's a yardstick when it comes to the amount of energy we output and the amount of energy we put into each of those pieces. And that's what you were talking a little bit about. It's better to have 2 well executed short form pieces from, say, that hour worth of filming, rather than just how can we squeeze this volume wise. The only bit I would push back is if they're in a discovery phase and they don't know what they want or they don't know what works. But I
mm,
guess, I mean, just to I would love to hear what you think on that as well, but also, like, specifically just to reiterate the question I wanted to ask you, which is, do you think at the moment businesses have a content problem, e.g., they don't know what to create, or do we have an attention problem, e.g., our attention is being drifted away from actually creating, so we find ourselves scrolling TikTok, scrolling LinkedIn, consuming, and then by proxy saying, "Oh, I'm not doing what Mike's doing, I'm not doing what Colton's doing," etc., and that then maybe makes me feel shit.
mm. I see a lot of clients at the moment who will create stuff, they'll create short form content, and they'll put GIFs, or they'll put, it's like that one at the moment. I don't know which one it is. It's the one with the nightclub. It's taken from a Netflix film or series where it's a feeling of, oh, euphoria kind of thing. And everybody jumps on the same trends. Everybody does the same thing. Everybody uses the same trend in audio. Everybody uses it. I think people are scared to think outside the box. And I think a lot of people don't know how to think outside the box. And, I don't always get it right for my own business, because, algorithms are constantly changing. But the plus side is I have the time to sit and look at what's going on. I have time to look and analyze what's going on so that I can go, right, I've got an accountant that wants to do some videos about tax return or making tax digital. And it's like, well, that's great. And they go, how do you make accountant's sexy. I'm like, well, you don't. But what you do is you break down the barriers of who you are. Nobody wants to go to an accountant. It isn't sexy. But if you can know, like, and trust, grow your awareness of, well, actually, we're very good at this. And if you've got a specific need, it's about breaking down what you do as a business and how you give people the answers that they are looking for. People will only part with their money if they know they're getting a return, and you can't always guarantee you'll get a return. So you need to be likable. I think in today's world, in terms of attention spans, we see a lot of idiots now, and I think that's the technical term, they'll do pranks on the street. They will throw eggs at people just before they get on a train. They will go up to people with little microphones and go, "What do you think of it?" All that stuff I just cannot stand. I'm a writer. I write comedy and I produce things that take me a very long time to write. I put my heart and soul into things. And somebody would rather go and watch something that took 30 seconds with hardly any thought process, and it's just someone being an idiot on camera, rather than watching something that someone's toiled over for 10, 15 years. And I think that's what's sad about the world, is that we are living in a world where, an artist who takes 20, 30 years to paint something, someone on Instagram, who just gets a camera out and thinks he's being clever, will get more views than the artist who spent most of his life creating a masterpiece. And I think that's the problem. People are too simple in what they consume now. And it's such a shame that where I stand is I want to make something emotionally tangible. I want to connect on an emotive level so that people go, wow, I really, really want to work with that guy or girl, or, and so it's trying to get people. And again, I think vulnerability. If you are vulnerable on camera, you will get more likes. So when I do outtakes or when I post videos that, I might be doing some of my short form videos in bulk and the dog's barking, I'll post a clip of the dog barking and me getting frustrated. That will get more views than the content I'm trying to create.
Do you think that? I mean, I guess the thing I was going to ask you is this principle around: would you rather have a video get 1 million views but maybe didn't hit the right audience, e.g., didn't do a lot for your business, or would you rather have consistently, let's just call it 1,000 views for the sake of conversation, and it was hitting those right 1,000 people, right? And I think, from my perspective, I was going to ask you: do you think it's a lost art when it comes to what you're talking about with like the emotional storytelling or emotional core, and or is this something which we can, I guess, I wouldn't say use AI for, because I think it's counterintuitive, but is that one of the reasons why we're potentially losing, maybe if we are losing it as an art?
Well, I think in a world of AI at the moment, the problem you have is nothing seems real. And to me and you, we have a trained eye. We can watch Lord of the Rings and appreciate the lighting and why that lighting is graded in a certain way for a certain feel, or the composition is composed for whatever reason, whether it's to make someone look proud, to make someone look small. We look at film in a completely different way to most people, so we have a trained eye. So we can, not all the time, but most of the time, we can tell when something is AI, when something's generated. I love AI. I think there is some amazing things we can do now, but I think the problem is it's not policed, and anybody can just create any rubbish. And the amount of, you sit on your phone, you scroll in the evening, you'll get one or two fantastic videos, but most of it is just, I feel sorry for all the servers and the cloud systems that literally just have so much rubbish uploaded to it on it. Every minute of the day, there's some video content being uploaded, and it's, where's the quality control? But then obviously, AI is there for anyone to express how they feel and what they want to create. But I feel like when they start taking faces of actors and and start manipulating things that didn't even happen and taking historical content and completely changing the narrative. I think we're in a very scary place where we can't trust what we see anymore.
Do you think that
That's the scary part.
makes trust more of a currency to care about then? Like it was always a currency to care about, but what jumps to mind when you say that is actually by us creating evergreen content that is maybe accelerated through AI, right? Or utilized in a workflow that has AI built in, but the core is still a real person having a real conversation, for example, in this case, right? Or us going through the painstaking task of crafting a educational video, a comedy script, a comedy skit, etc., etc., etc. Do you think that those will actually rise above the top because of the amount of AI slop or the AI challenge as a whole? And then, if so, does that have a knock-on effect to potentially why we would be trusted rather than someone who's like fully AI leaning in that respect?
I just think people don't want to work for the content anymore. I think, long form content, I explain to my clients like this. Long form content should sit on your website. Long form content should be your online course, behind a paid wall or whatever. Your long form content should be people already in your ecosystem.
Mm.
Trying to get someone who doesn't know who you are or knows of you to watch long form content, they just ain't going to do it unless you are some influencer with millions and millions of views. And even then, a lot of because content creators and influencers are constantly chasing the next video. That in itself becomes a full-time job. A lot of clients say to me, "Oh, I want to focus on YouTube this year." I'm like, well, expect at least a year or two before you even start to get your SEO on track.
Yeah.
Because I had a viral video because my business started off as a comedy production company back in 2012, and I focused on writing online comedy. This was where the world was completely different in 2012, and I wanted to write comedy. And over the last 13 years, it's become a production company that produces videos for businesses. So obviously, the main reason of creating a business has completely changed today from what it was. But I had a video that got 17 million views and still gets a good 100 per month. But that has actually had a negative effect on my account because the algorithm's completely different and because the content's completely different.
Mm.
Trying to get an account that's got 10,000 subscribers with over 70 million views on, it's now hard because it's a dead account in a sense because
Well, I
it's
think
not was.
I think from the research I've done on the YouTube algorithm, it thinks your viewer bucket is X when actually your viewer
Mm,
bucket is now Y. Now,
mm.
I guess my question to you would be, and I think the reason why I asked this is because I think it'd be valuable for those listening. Why haven't you slash are you looking to create a new channel? Because with a new channel becomes a fresh algorithm, which in turn means if you're creating solely business content or solely like this is why you should use video, etc., etc., and you're targeting A, filmmakers, B, marketers, C suite, etc., you're targeting that group of people. Surely that would be the solution, or would you, or are you saying, or maybe it's a I don't know. That's why I'm asking it, right? But is it a world of like you have a level of nostalgia related to that channel and the size of it to say, well, actually, I can re-pivot the channel in the respect to the actual YouTube algorithm, or potentially are you thinking about? And my recommendation to you would be actually say that channel's great, and if I ever have any content that's in that bucket that algorithm, the YouTube algorithm already has understood, then I put it there. But actually, I'm going to relaunch a different Instagram, a different YouTube channel, etc., for the specific business content. I mean, is that something that you're looking for?
I think for me to seriously take YouTube seriously, I think it's a full-time job in itself. I'm
Yeah.
out every week filming. How long has it taken me to get on a podcast with you? I'm time poor because I've become a very busy fool. This year is about not saying yes to everyone and sitting
Mm.
down and having coffee for an hour. This year is about being a bit more focused and taking a bit more of my time back. Focusing on what networking groups are working for me and which ones are not. Looking at cutting down my overheads a little bit this year, kind of resetting myself. I don't personally think building a YouTube for me as a videographer is going to lead to me getting local work. Yes, I travel the UK. Yes, I have clients in Turkey. But for me, if I mean, what do I want YouTube to do for me apart from having an online presence that maybe potentially people might want to jump on my online courses? So yeah, maybe another account for that. I think it's just a case of I do still get views. It is actually on the way up slowly because I post every week now and have been for a couple of months. Um, I am starting to see a difference, but my end goal is not to be completely focused on YouTube doing better for me. It's about consistently showing up. My videos go out at 10 o'clock every Wednesday at a set time so people know exactly where I'm going to be.
Mhm.
Because people get into rhythms and routines. And if they know someone's going to be up every week, then they kind of go, right, okay, he'll post again next week. I'll have a look for his videos. I think YouTube, because the problem is you know clients say to me, oh, we want to grow our YouTube account. I'm like, okay, um, so what do you want to achieve from that? Again, that's the first question I ask. What do you want to achieve from growing a YouTube account? Oh, we just want more awareness. I'm like, yeah, but YouTube is the world. So are if you want to focus on a location, if you're an accountant in Chester or an accountant
Mm.
in North Wales or Liverpool, why do you want the whole world to see what you do? Why are you posting to the whole world? Why not do meta ads? Why not
Yeah.
do targeted video content for, Instagram and Facebook? Use meta, which then can kind of go, right, well, we want a 10-mile radius of our office. I think a lot of people don't know what's out there. I think a lot of people just think, oh, we'll make videos and we'll get loads of work. It doesn't work like that. It's it's like with passive income. Like people say, well, if I just create short form videos every single day, then I'll get loads of business from it. I'm like, but are your clients all over the world? Can you work all over the world? Does it mean that you have to travel a lot more? Does that mean, you have an online platform that you sell courses?
Mm.
If I was to focus on YouTube, it would be for my online coaching only. It wouldn't be, I'm a filmmaker, I'll come and work for you, because I'd rather work at home, near to home, be home for tea, than, if I've got work down in Salisbury, I'll pick up the phone and say, you might as well do it. What's the point? What is the point in me driving all the way down there when you're capable of doing it?
Yeah. And I think,
You know.
I think to an extent, just to build off that, I mean, I think the key there is like understanding. Firstly, why did you go in business? Secondly, like what life do you quote unquote want from the business that you are actually
Mm,
building? Because like, let's say for example you're in a stage of your life or a season of your life where family is really important, whether that means a partner, whether that means a full-on family, whatever that means for you.
mm,
And then of course, yeah, you should consider that maybe actually your career, you need to bring in enough to pay bills, etc., etc., but you should then be targeting clients that mean you have a more, we have this kind of standard joke in our relationship, I think, for a long time, which has been, you love holidays, right? And I'm not against holidays, and I do take time off, but I do it in my way, and I think that's a very key example of like creating a life which then has the output that you want, right? I, at the moment in this stage of my life, I can prioritize my career and I can continue to grow as a principal and I see it as an advantage to continue to market, to continue to develop, and continue to work on the business when others are maybe really investing in their family, right? And that's not a bad thing. It's about understanding that we are both different people and we're both obviously going to react differently or have a different focus. And it reminds me of a conversation I had in a conversation, I think it was around Boxing Day, there or thereabouts. Someone basically said something on the lines of, this is how you can work with me in 2026, and then was asking for feedback on what people thought about that 2 week window where people are like, should I market, should I not market, should I be taking time off, etc., socially, should I be reflecting, etc. And I basically just said, well, if you're willing to put the work in and that aligns with what you're looking to do across that 2 week window, you'll probably be rewarded now, as in January 5th, and January onwards than people who otherwise wouldn't. But also, those people would be gaining other benefits because they'll be spending time with their family. And I basically just got, I forget who exactly the comment was from, but it was something like I was saying, there's other things to life than work. And I said, well, it's your choice, right? And everything, I guess the older I get, the more I understand that life is about choices. And this is the same when it comes to like what businesses are you building and what areas of attention are you trying to focus on when it comes to building your business. And I would argue that's actually why you potentially should bring in a professional, whatever that means for you, professional marketer, professional video production company, professional advertising company. Because if you are a person who values the time with family, yeah, you could get a camera, you could learn how to use it, you could learn how lighting works, you could learn how audio works, so on, so on, so on, to be able to produce your content. But I would actually argue if you're not just picking up your phone and talking to it and you don't have that confidence yet, that's where you should start. You shouldn't necessarily bring this overwhelming conversation or this overwhelming like development when it comes to the fear around like talking to camera, looking into a teleprompter, having all these lights, having these microphones, having all this edit, etc. Because the in the years of my own experience, creating my own content, but also working with clients, the energy level that you actually output, how you present, how you come across is going to be the deciding factor in the long term. To phrase it into a question though, how do you work with clients, or what would you say to someone maybe listening to this who's like, yeah, new me, new year, gonna do video, gonna absolutely kill it, it's gonna be incredible, but I'm terrified of looking at my phone?
The key thing is this: there are two types of people. There are people who want to create videos for the business, and they want to save a bit of money, and that's great, and that's why I'm a video coach, because I thought, well, if you don't want to hire me, I'll teach you and I'll give you pointers, and I've got online courses to help you, because a lot of people want to do it themselves, but then I always say to people, so when someone comes and they say, I want some videos doing, but I don't know if I want to do them myself, I don't know if I want you to do it for me, I go, well, what is your job? And they say, for example, I'm a financial advisor. I'm like, right, so have you got time in your diary every week to sit down and record videos, edit them, post them, and schedule them? And they go, no. I'm like, well, you either pay me to take that time away from you and to do it for you and to give you an end product, or I teach you how to do it yourself, give you pointers of how you can create it, how you can manage your time. If you've got the time, do it. They get frustrated because they think it's easy. And to agree it's easy, if you know what you're doing, composition is important, lighting is important, sound is important. If you don't get those things right, and most of the time it's sound, if you've got bad sound, people won't watch it. And again, when people think, oh, I'll use ChatGPT, I'll write 10 video ideas for my business, they'll read it out without even knowing what that content means. So they're just wasting their own time. When you hire a videographer, filmmaker, cinematographer, whatever, we don't just come with equipment, we come with an idea, we come with some kind of understanding of our industry for us to guide people in the way to get the results that they need. And that is what people pay us for. They don't pay us for the fancy equipment, although that's the bonus. They pay us for what we can look at their business and go, right, so you're an aesthetics company, you do skincare, you have clients that have problems with their skin, right? Let's have a look at what people are doing. 9 times out of 10 people are on TikTok, because it's a younger generation that has these aesthetic companies. I'm not saying everyone's young, but there are a younger generation that get into skin aesthetics, and they are a young, vibrant group of people who go straight to TikTok. Does anyone ever question the business and go, well, are your clients on TikTok? And I'd probably say for an aesthetics company, I would say that there are probably a good handful of people. So it's probably a good platform to work from. Instagram's another one. For a younger audience, would posting on Facebook help? Probably not as much as Instagram and TikTok, but it all depends. It depends. People always say to me, where should I focus my time? YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm like, well, where do you currently get most of your interaction now? Do you know what I mean? Where are you? People don't ask themselves the questions first. They just go, what should I do? I'm like, well, where are you at? What are you posting at the moment? It's about fact finding. It's about finding out When someone comes to me and they say, I want a video for the website, I'm like, great. What video have you done before? And they go, nothing. I'm like, well, don't expect great things from this video because you don't have an online presence.
Yeah.
Build
And
up videos by creating videos on your phone. Start being consistent. Start understanding video content in itself. And sometimes stop caring what people think. People live behind this barrier of fear.
mm,
And they go, well, yeah, we want video. We need video. But I can't stand being in front of a camera.
I think
I've always been confident in front of a camera because I come from an acting background. So, although I coach people on confidence and I can make people feel confident and make them feel relaxed, I have an issue understanding why people are so het up with it.
I think I mean if I go down like really deep psychology wise, like why how why is someone scared of it? It will probably come down from the fear of judgment from others, right? In my experience, and that in a crux comes from your own self-esteem. And I've been very fortunate to have the mother I have and not have that issue, but I can relate to that. And I think that without going too woo woo with it, you need to do the inner work, right? If that's
Mm,
something that you're consistently running into when it comes to like the bottleneck for the business, but once you've done that, and or if that's the targeted problem that you see, you just need to put your big girl pants or big boy pants on and just do it, right? In the nicest way
yeah.
possible, because you're never going to be able to reap the rewards until you've been consistent with it. And the reason why I always tell people you probably shouldn't hire someone until you're competent and you understand what you want the video to do, because you don't know what your target client, your target customer profile necessarily needs or wants to consume, right? So I'll give you an example. Something that I did last year was I constantly reevaluated, not all the time, but every quarter or every 2 quarters, I looked at, okay, who is my customer target profile? Who is that person? Where do they hang out? What do they care about? What do they not care about? What kind of content do they want to consume? Right? Are they the kind of person who would listen to a business podcast? Yes, no, right, etc. And once I understood that, I then had a framework that I could then create for, right? So once I was then doing that, I was then the question, and my next question for you is going to be like, why do people fail at being consistent, right? We talk about consistency all the time, but why is it so hard to maintain? Well, just to finish my train of thought very quickly, I think for me, the reason why people fail is because they don't add a habit and they don't have that uncomfortability passively in their life, so that whenever they come to, I'm going to talk to an animate object, I'm going to talk on a show, I'm going to talk on a podcast, they don't have the passive social soft skills to be
Yeah.
able to, I guess, energize, or maybe, and I was
There's,
I was thinking about this a lot very quickly. I mean, I think as well, it's about the preparation that you don't go into it, right? Because if we're skilled at what we do, so we can probably just show up and execute. The issue is if you're new, you can't.
yeah, I had two clients last year who said to me, and I know them through networking. I've known them a while. They are the types of people who wouldn't have had a videographer or a photographer at their wedding.
Mm,
They have a photo that was 10 years old. A lot of people do struggle with putting themselves on camera. I lost a lot of weight before Christmas, and I've gained it because I was like, do you know what? I've been counting my food content since October. I'm going to take a bit of time off and just relax. And you know what? A bit puffy face today, but do you know what? Who cares? I'll lose it again. But that is what would stop somebody from creating video content. There is always an excuse.
yeah.
Oh, my hair's not right. I'll wait until I get a haircut. I'll wait until I just lose a bit of weight before. I'm like, yeah, but you might gain that weight again in a couple of months' time. It's like, stop waiting for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment doesn't come. We've even had this in this. I've got just before you press record to go live, I've got this thing on my screen saying your recording has stopped. I've checked on Facebook and the recording is still recording, but again, that would throw someone completely off and would completely
Cheers,
change
bro. Cheers,
their
Riverside.
yeah, no, I'm definitely on it. I can see me on Facebook, but a lot of people wait for that perfect moment, and it's never going to happen. Grab your camera. If you know what you want to say relates to somebody or connects with somebody, or you're giving some kind of advice that helps somebody, just grab your camera and do it. I fall foul of that sometimes because obviously when it comes to production value, I rate that higher than most people do. So, and obviously with me in my industry, I have to try my best to capture the best looking image that I can.
Mm.
But when you're creating short form content and when you are on the go, you can't always work with harsh lighting. You can't always, you don't always have a diffuser in your pocket to stop your head from glowing up in the sun. You have to just sometimes go, do you know what? It's a bit messy, bit dirty, not the greatest content, but what I'm saying is spot on.
Mm.
If your content is king, the rest of it isn't the end of the world. Just providing that you've got reasonably good audio, which, there are AI apps now that can clean up audio even if it's a bit windy. You can buy cheap, reasonably priced clip-on mics now for phones. There's DJI have got the Osmo to stabilize your image, £100, less than £100. So there is no excuse really. It's just, before you start creating video content, ask yourself, what do I want to achieve this year? What is the story that I am going to tell this year? And how am I going to help my client? Not how amazing am I need to tell the world. How am I going to help my client? A lot of people think inside rather than outside. They think of what they want to talk about, not what their audience wants to hear.
Yeah.
I had a client before Christmas that sent me a script, and I said, this is great, but you're just talking about yourself and no one cares. Turn it around. How is all of this that is great from your perspective, how does that connect and help somebody else? And a lot of clients think that they're going to try and answer everything in the world in one video.
Yeah.
And I'm like, break it down. Break all these things down into shorter videos. You've got more content then. It's like this long form video we're doing now. Will most people watch 48 minutes? Probably not. If you cut that down and slice it up and put it on multiple platforms and mix them around, so put different ones on different platforms, you are then content rich,
Yeah.
but you're using a 48-minute interview.
Yeah. And I think
People won't sit and watch 48 minutes of me and you. They just won't. But if we put enough nuggets out there, they might go, that actually is quite worth watching. But you'd still have to cut the 48-minute down because we've blabbed about things that are just not important.
I think for me, I think it's about that. There's kind of two camps, right? I think the people who are maybe struggling or thinking that they've maybe had video on the to-do list for ages, right? Like, the advice I would give to them is just kick them up the arse and get them to do it, right? Like, and I don't, in the nicest way possible, I don't really care how good it is, because at the beginning, my only objective is get you to do it, right? Once you've been doing it for a while, right, then people may say to you, or other people have said, etc., right? Like,
it's a journey.
But I guess this leads on to my next question, which was going to be like, what specifically would you say when someone says to you, my content isn't working, right? A, what's actually going on? And B, potentially what's the solution?
You look at the language. You look at the language of what someone is using. Now, like I've just said in the previous answer, most people feel like, people say, oh, we've won these awards, we've done this, we've been in business this years. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. If they want to know the answer, they will ask you. You've got to focus on what is the language that you are putting out into the universe. It's simple as like an email, isn't it? It's like you don't put an email saying, I hope you're well. You say, I trust you're well. It's used in things. Language is a very important thing. And when you actually do a bit more research into how we use language, and then that rolls into body language and vice versa. Once your videos will always be rubbish when you first start out. It's a fact. There's nothing I can do about that. I can coach you for months and months and months, but the only way you will learn is by doing. It's by get over yourself. My face ain't the most perfect face in the world. I'm a little bit chubbier because of Christmas. Am I saying to you, oh, can we just wait a couple of weeks till I've lost a bit of weight? No. Who cares? The only person that cares about my weight is me.
But I think also, like, some days we're naturally self-confident, right? Or like we're really high.
But you've
up,
got to move
cetera,
past
right?
that, though. You've got to move past that. You can't live in a world where you want to have this perfect image of you, because it's fake. It is a fake representation of life. It is a fake representation of you. I use social media in a way that, in the past, when I've broken up with girlfriends, I have posted, I've broken up with someone. Now, some people go, oh, mate, don't be posting that. I'm like, you can't just show the positive parts of life. You have to,
Mm.
because then when people come back to me and go, oh, where's your girlfriend? Not seen you post about it. Oh, we broke up. Oh, you know what I mean? And I think then people go, oh, he's only posting the good things. And most people do. Most people do just post the good things. If you look at some of the content I've posted today for my weekly content, I've put pictures of me overweight because it's relevant to what I'm talking about or whatever. But you've got to move past this perfection, this idea that life is perfect. None of my videos in 13 years have been perfect. But when I look back at the videos I did a year ago, my lighting has improved.
Yeah.
I look back at my videos from 2 years ago, my sound has improved. Video is a journey. The more you do, the better you get. If you're sitting in a room thinking, I'm going to do it this year, I'm going to do it this year, I'm going to get ready, I'm going to get ready, you are always going to put it off. You are always going to have an excuse. You are always going to think, I'll just wait for this, I'll just wait for that. Oh, I'll save some money and I'll buy some equipment. How many people do you know you'll go to do a job for somebody and they'll go, oh, I've got all this equipment, I've got softbox lights, I've got a ring light, I've got a tripod. I'm like, do you use it? No, I haven't sat and learned how to use it yet. I'm like, the amount of people that have equipment in their offices and they just don't use it. It's like,
Yeah.
because they thought it was a good idea. They realized it's not just Mike or Carlton turn up to the office one day and press record on a camera and go home laughing to the bank because they've just charged someone 1,500 quid. They don't see the 7 o'clock start right through to 10 o'clock because you've peaked a bit of color and you're just trying to mask it, and
Mm.
you've got to also stop being a perfectionist as well, because
Yeah.
I use AI to clean up my audio because that saves me 4 hours.
Yeah. I
But
think.
that 4 hours means I can research plugins. I can research how to get a better grade on something. I can research in that moment, right, audio's done. I'm going to spend an
Yeah.
hour or two just tweaking this color a bit more because I've got my time back.
I think.
People don't want to pay you to sit there for 4 hours cleaning audio. If you can use AI to get it cut down quicker, to get it back into the project, if you can quickly
Yeah.
grade and make it look reasonably good, because our level of understanding of perfectionism is completely different.
An example of non-perfection. There we
I
go.
know you just disappeared, and I thought I was going to disappear first.
Am I back? I don't know.
You're
Who
back.
knows?
You were back. I think maybe your camera's burning, getting a bit hot, because mine does that after a while. But it's true though. It's true. I think people live in this world. I'll just keep talking and filling while you're
I'll tell you
sorting.
what. I'll tell you what. Let me sort my camera out, and then here you go. It's Mike's show now. The
It's
top
your
5 tips that you can do while I fit this for everyone listening.
top 5 tips. So right, let's think off the top of my head. The first tip would be to stop caring what people think. You have to stop waiting for perfect to happen, because perfect is not going to happen. Number 2, you need to be consistent. If you are going to be creating videos for 2026, just be consistent. Think about what you're going to say before you go out and film it. Number 3, I think we're on. I would say look at your language. Think about the language that you are using. Think about how you are writing your content and how you are projecting that out, because there is a lot of value in using the right kind of terminology when creating content. So don't talk about yourself. Talk about how you help people, how what you do makes a difference in somebody's life, how somebody spending money with you in your business will lead to a result, because people don't care about how long you've been doing it. They don't care how good you are. They just want to know, will this person do this job, and will this person who I've paid get the results that I want? 4, be authentic. Just be your natural self. Stop trying to be somebody that you're not. Stop trying to be polished. We are living in a world of AI where everything is fake. Everything is not real. So to get that human connection, the ums, the ahs, the slight pauses, I leave some of them into my videos because that emotionally connects people to a human. Those little tiny incrust those small imperfections that we have as humans is what AI probably can replicate to a degree, and probably will in the next 2-3 years. but we are constantly trying to strip away our humanity, our idiosyncrasies, if that's the
Yeah.
word. I don't know.
I think I think again, like,
I had a fifth one, but I can't think of it. I'll come back to the
well,
fifth one.
I'll add it onto the end of the AI
You
one
had the
because I think it's true, and I think that so many people they look for, maybe we're looking at AI and we're looking at, okay, well, this can replace X time, right? But then we don't think about how we utilize the other time, right? So
fifth.
let's say, for example, I'm using Autopod to edit this podcast, and it means that I can save the 2 hours it would have probably taken me to manually cut it. Okay, cool. But the thing that some people think about is, how can I save the 2 hours? Instead of how can I still use the same amount of time in the podcast, but how can I add that extra time in, not on grunt work, so to speak, e.g., cutting backwards and forwards between myself and Michael, but how can I tweak the grade? How can I tweak the audio? How can I make it flow better? Do I rewatch it? Do I add maybe some motion graphics? Do I add maybe some B-roll, etc.? And I think for me, that's the 1% I was referring to a little bit earlier. And I think that once you understand that, then you can look to, because it's kind of counterintuitive, right? Because we want to keep making stuff better and better and better, yes, but not to get in our way, right? So I'd rather execute imperfect action than then getting to a position where, because then you can add value, right? Then you can
Yeah.
move the needle, because then you know what that 1% is really going to matter and how it works, because then you're not worrying about the skill of presenting, the skill of how do we do a podcast, how do we come across, etc. But you mentioned trend jacking at the beginning, and I think I have kind of two opinions, which is like, if you have the bandwidth to do it, then yeah, potentially you could create a load of content, but it shouldn't ever replace your evergreen content. I guess for people who are maybe consuming this
But
or
the
thinking
problem,
about
but the
this
problem
about,
is there.
yeah,
The dog, the postman's finally come, and the problem you have is it's the quality over quantity. Just because other people are doing things doesn't mean you should too. Yes, you might get loads of views, but does 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 posting content of trending videos of people falling off bikes and then you sliding in as a presenter, does that actually mean, oh, he must be a great plumber, he must be a great an accountant,
yeah,
I want to hire him because his video was good? No, people forget about it, and that's the problem. People forget about it. They see it and go, oh, that was funny. They forget about it. They don't follow, they don't like. There's nothing tangible there, there's nothing real there. It's just people trying to stand out by copying everybody
yeah.
else.
I think it's about using it sparingly, though, right? Like, you can use the hook of
but
that.
but 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 the problem is, people look at these things and go, right, everyone's doing this, we'll do that. Do they actually think, well, what is our brand? What is our vision? What is it that we, what is our mission statement? What I don't create. I could easily act like an idiot, get someone to follow me around town, and I could be a class clown, and I could get loads of views.
Yeah.
Does it mean that people want to hire me as a videographer?
No.
No, because for me, I want people to trust me. I want people to go, that guy is going to do what he says he's going to do.
Yeah.
So the last thing they need is some idiot who is ruining his brand and image by acting like an idiot just for likes. And this is where I really hate the world at the moment in terms of how we consume content, because people just think acting like an idiot's going to get you results, might get you views, but do those. It's not about having thousands of views on a video, because it doesn't mean 1,000 people pick up the phone and go, hiya, I'd like to hire you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess
People think that the view count is the important thing, and it's not. It's really not.
well, it's about whether you're doing it in the entertainment bucket or whether you're doing it in the brand building bucket. And as long as, like, and that's kind of where I'm in two minds when it comes to trend jacking, because I agree with you, right? Like, if it's going to be brand damaging, no, absolutely you shouldn't do it, right? I would much rather have consistently 200 views, 300 views, 400 views, 5,000 views, whatever it is, whatever your standard line is, and it was all building to consistency, reminding people that I exist, how I show up, etc. Right? A. B. The thing to consider, though, is how can you potentially see something, and this is why I think every single person should have a level of, I'm going to create, like, mostly you should be in the create side of the content window, but potentially you should have a small window of time when it comes to, this is how we're going to look at what's happening online, right? Not to say that you should necessarily, like, copy or like use the inspiration every time. It's so that you have an awareness of what's going on. So once you have that awareness and you know, oh, there is a trend. Okay, well, is that then on brand? And then could you leverage it to gain more attention? Potentially. Okay. And or do you have the bandwidth? Or could you actually spend that time potentially doing more evergreen content, like something like this? Or is that going to take your decision away or distract you? I guess is the further question. But just while we wrap up and while we think about, leave people with some thoughts as they think. I mean, what would you say if someone is looking to maybe up their marketing this year, or they're maybe to get into video or etc.? What should they do? What should they tangibly do after watching this? Like, how do they move forward? How do they move that next, like, take that first step, take that next step for them?
They need to storytell. They need to be themselves. They need to stop caring who they want. They need to stop trying to be something they're not.
Mm.
I have clients who will go and get a makeup artist to come and do their makeup, and then we'll do the videos. They'll look fantastic, and then they'll watch the videos back and go, "It just doesn't look like me." And I'm like, "Well, what do you think's different?" He went, "Well, I don't normally wear that much makeup, but I was trying a bit too hard." I'm like, "Why are you trying too hard?" Because now, if you want to create videos on your phone, you're gonna have to get a makeup artist. You've set the bar up here now. I think you've just got to be your natural self. And it's hard because people don't want to be vulnerable. People are scared of their school friends seeing it or their family seeing it. And I'm like, stop caring about what people think.
Yeah.
There are videos on social media that I've posted over the last 13 years, and some of them are so embarrassing. I wrote a song about being on the toilet once when I was 26 or 7, and it was funny. I had a selfie stick, and I wrote a song while I was on the toilet. And, you think of these things now and go, wow, I wouldn't do that now. But it's there, it's up there. And some of my friends in my camp van group, they seem to get it out when we're all drunk and go, oh, well, there's Michael acting like an idiot. I don't take myself too seriously. I am who I am. I'm, there are flaws in my personality. I'm not just this happy, bubbly, fantastic, wonderful guy that I try to portray. I am a happy, nice, bubbly guy, and I will help people as much as I can. But I can still get grumpy. I can still have a go at someone for cutting me up on the motorway. I'm a human. I try to show the real me. And if I am angry, and I try to refrain from creating video content because I've got a business and a brand to protect and think about. So I don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion, don't talk about sexuality, don't talk about race. You go on my social media, and even if people try to put their opinions, I'm very to the point and go, thank you for your comment, or I like it, or I just won't engage. Because I have a brand to protect.
I think it's also just like, in the nicest way possible, it's not relevant, right? Like, a lot of the stuff we discuss should be in, like, and I see this a lot when it comes to like creators. If they're just, the thing they monetize is getting lots of views on their socials, right? Or the thing they monetize is getting all their views on their podcast or their YouTube channel, and that's the way they make money. Okay, well then controversy will sell. Okay, cool, right? Because it drives views, which in turn then means your monetizable views will be
you
higher.
have to be Marmite. You have to be Marmite. You have to be disliked and liked at the same time. You have to create, and that's probably why I've never really gone down that road of getting viral views, because I'm very conscious of trying to keep everyone happy, trying not to rock the boat. I am very kind of boring in the sense of when it comes to content creation. A lot of my stuff doesn't peak because I'm not saying, well, I think this, and I don't go on social media and go, well, I think you're all stupid and I think you're all doing this wrong. I don't do that, but that is what people want. Those Marmite characters you like but you hate. And I just can't bring myself to want to be disliked. So I know that I am bound to keep my stuff just happy bubble, knowing that my stuff is probably very vanilla, probably not really going to peak because I don't really cross any boundaries.
But I think
But yes,
that's you being authentic, using a buzz term, right?
mm,
But that's you being authentic to yourself, and just connect to that. For those who've really enjoyed this conversation and they want to connect with you, they want to see what you're doing, they want to see your content, etc. Where's best for people to reach out?
you can add me on Facebook, Michael David Roberts. You can go to Take the Cape Productions. You can go to the website. You can go to the YouTube. It's all under Take the Cape Productions. If you go to the website, takethecakeproductions.co.uk. It will lead you to everything: Instagram, Facebook. Our productions, the sitcoms that I've written, everything's all linked together. Everything weaves.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for the time, Michael. Thank you
My
so
pleasure.
much for listening, those who listened through the fun that was this conversation. And if you were going to talk to yourself 10 years ago, Michael, and you were going to give that person advice, what would you give them as advice?
I'd probably say get off the toilet and put the camera down. Sort yourself out. That's probably what I'd say.
Fair enough. And if you did enjoy this video, you would like to see more like it, make sure to be subscribed. I'd love to hear you think in the comment section down below. And I'll be back next week with a brand new What's Missing in Marketing Today. Thank you ever so much, and I'll see you soon.